What's up, YouTube family? In this video, we're going to go over a shoulder mobility routine. If this is your first time here and you like this video, please give me a like or subscribe for future updates from the channel. So let's get started with the shoulder car, which is a move made popular from functional range systems. Very simply, we're going to externally rotate the arm and adduct it towards the body. So bring it towards the midline. And then I'm going to bring it up into flexion. That's like I'm reaching up on a shelf. Abduction, kind of like you're going to throw something, reaching back, start to internally rotate into extension. And this is kind of like you're reaching to hand someone something behind you, similar to running a relay race with a baton. Keep reaching up and then start to externally rotate back into abduction, and then keep coming up into flexion, external rotation all the way around. And we're doing it unilaterally, one at a time. The other side, I'm going to externally rotate and then adduction, reaching across body and then up into flexion. Try to keep the elbow locked. This is like you're reaching on a shelf. And then abduction out here. And at one point, you're going to feel the need to rotate, internal rotation into extension. And then I'm reaching back here. This is like handing the baton to somebody, reach a little higher, start to externally rotate into abduction. And then keep going flexion. Keep externally rotating all the way across, adduction, and down. Okay, and now what we can do is we can put this together for a little more of a fluid movement. Let's externally rotate both arms, adduction into flexion, into abduction, AB, internal rotation, into extension. And from here, I might bend the elbows and hover, and then extend the arms, coming back around, and then all the way across, maybe the other arm on top. And we can do this again. This is called the swimmer. It's kind of like doing the butterfly stroke. I'm just turning to show you when I come to the end. Obviously, this is not part of the butterfly stroke, but there's a little extra at the end. And then all the way around, coming across and down. All right, I have a few props here that we're going to use today. I have a kettlebell, which you could use a number of different weights or blocking techniques. I also have a bow staff, which you can use easily, a broom handle, and I do have an extra weight that I could use on the broom handle, but we'll get into that. We're going to start on the floor, and we're going to go into some external and internal shoulder rotation. So I'm going to use the kettlebell, and I have something that's heavy enough to where, provide some resistance. I like to use the kettlebell on its side like this, even though it's kind of unstable. It might come down like that. But I just want to create enough resistance. If you need something heavier, obviously, this could be the bottom of your couch or something in your house that's really stable. And at least 30 to 50 pounds of resistance. Not that you'd even need that much. Okay, so I'm gonna leave this here. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna start with something, of course it comes down, start with something called the sleeper stretch. So I might measure it out and make sure that when the time comes, I'll be able to get my hand under it, kind of creating this little external rotation. But I'm gonna start. All right, I'll let that come down. I'm going to go to internal. And then I'm just going to roll over to the side a little bit. And I'm just looking for the edge of where I can't feel it, able to move anymore. And then I might provide a blocking technique similar to this weight. And the way it's providing a blocking technique in external rotation, I'm providing it in internal rotation. And then I'll try to push this way, and that'll be the exercise in the isometric one way. And then when we're done, I'll go here and we'll push the other way So just if you're wondering where this is all going, we're doing a number of different isometrics to strengthen the shoulder. So let's go internal rotation, find your edge, hold, and then open, or try to. And you should feel that in here. Obviously keep the block. I'm just trying to demonstrate. Keep externally rotating against 5 to 15 seconds, and then just relax. And you might feel like you have more room. Don't worry about trying to find more. We're not really working on that. This is a basic shoulder mobility routine. Take your hand here. Again, we want to be safe. Externally rotate against it. Find a nice tension, nothing too intense. And just keep going. 5, 4, 3, 2, and then we'll just relax. Now I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to get my hand underneath that, and then I'm just going to maybe come back onto my spine again, supine, and slowly try to lift. I'm not giving it my all, but I am trying to create some tension. I can, again, feel it in the capsule. That's what I'm looking for. So you don't need a lot of weight. I'm actually shaking doing this, and then I'm going to relax. Again, these are isometrics. You can consider these PALs, progressive angular isometric loads, but it's just basically an isometric in general. When you're ready, again, progressive tissue, right? You're working with the progressive tissue, the stronger tissue right now. I'm trying to slightly lift the kettlebell. I'm getting a little bit of a shake because it's intense and my nervous system is responding. And then I'm just gonna relax and come out of that. So that was a nice internal and external rotation for that one arm. Obviously, we're gonna do the other side. So safely adjust your kettlebell, or wherever you are, right? If this is the bottom of your couch and you have your arm under there, you're gonna have to figure out the right alignment for you. You're looking for this 90. And then once I'm there, right, I'll set up the other way. So we're gonna start with the sleeper stretch. And this is really common in functional range systems. They talk about this a lot. There are other ways to do internal rotation. So I'm gonna find where it's safe for me, right? I'm looking for this 90. Once I feel an end range, I'm gonna block, and I'm trying to open against that. So I'm creating a nice isometric here, and just ramping that up for like 5 seconds. And then I'm gonna remove the block. You can keep it. I'm just gonna, move it around a little bit. I'm staying at the end range though. And then again, one more time, I'll block, push to open, right? Creating an isometric, equal tension, equal measurement, isometric. Keep it going, 5. And then gently release. We're gonna go the other way now. All right, we're gonna set that up. I might come into a supine position. And when I'm ready, I'm gonna drive. And I'm not going crazy. I don't need to Hulk it. I just wanna feel it. I want the tissue to react. As long as it's reacting, I'm getting feedback, growth, adaptation. And then I can relax. Now I could make it more intense as I'm ready. But again, this is a shoulder mobility routine to start. So, be nice. One more time. Open it up, right? Think of it like you're trying to pull the lever. And you're already at the edge, so it is difficult. It's supposed to be that way. You're trying to strengthen the very edge of the muscle. It's a nice way to strengthen end range, or to flex your stretch, I like to call it. Okay, let's relax. Let's come out of that. So that was internal and external rotation. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna work with extension and flexion. So I'm gonna adjust again. got all these props. So we're gonna take this out of the picture. And now we're gonna come into a prone position. And you could do a lot of these standing, but this is the preferred method, I would say. I'll show it both ways if I can. Take flexion, which is this, arms straight, lift your elbows, lift your fingers. Now you would take your head down or your chin. But for the class, I'm gonna leave my head up. I'm pointing my toes. Again, elbows locked, fingers lifted, push down a little bit. Again, creating the isometric. I'm at my end range. The floor is level. And it's a light push at first. I'm gonna relax now, and then I'm gonna reach. See if I can create a little more. And once I find my new end range, if it's available, lock my elbows, lift my fingers, push down. And I'm creating a nice tension here, pushing into the floor. Keeping this going, let's say, 5 seconds. And then I'm gonna relax and reach more. And I'm actually cramping in my left foot. It's so intense. But another way to think of this is the front body line drill that's popular in a lot of things like movement culture. And what you could do is you could take your head down and try to lift your hands, and you point the toes, it looks like this. And that's what you would consider the opposite, or the RAL, or the front body line drill. You're also pulling the navel of the spine, right? Creating nice flexion in the spine. It's very similar to doing a handstand. So we're gonna change direction a little for extension. So flexion was this way of arms overhead, but extension, we're gonna do one at a time, unilaterally. So I'm gonna take my fist to the floor, and I'm gonna reach into a position where I feel I'm pretty much at the edge. It should feel kind of like you're at the bottom of a dip. And I wanna pull my elbow towards the body, right? I don't wanna pull out like the compensation. 90 is good, right? But if you have a little more, it's okay. Pull it in tight. And then I'm just holding first. So this is me holding extension, a nice light isometric, pulling the elbow towards the body. All right, it could be here. It's relative to a degree. And then I can push into the floor like I'm punching the ground, create more tension. I could even lift up, extend, something like that. These are now, I'm doing isometrics at end range. I'm doing movements at end range, loading. That's the way I like to work. Shoulder extension there. Both sides, right? So I take one arm straight, making like a 90, right? And you can see I can pull the elbow out. That would be a compensation. I'm gonna pull it in. Maybe start at 90, push down for a little progressive tissue. And then lift a little bit, extend, maybe get a little closer. Find a nice end range for you. Push. Lift, extend, right? And dynamic, kinetic stretching, whatever you want to call it. Give it the time under tension. Try to spend 5 to 15 seconds doing different isometrics. Let's end this with a little prone swimmer. So we did the swimmer to start. What we're gonna do here is this kind of combination of everything. Maybe I pull the navel in a little bit, right? Flex my back. Find a lift. Internal rotation. Try to hover. Come back around. Flexion. Internal rotation, hover. And you can see I don't have a ton of room here.
there's no cheating because the floor, right? It doesn't give no compensation. So we did flexion and extension. We did more swimmers, but now we need to do adduction and abduction to kind of complete that isometric circle. While you could do them on the floor, with something like this, you can have your arms straight, roll into this abduction, and then I could push into the floor here. And I could do it the other way, I guess. If I'm here and I roll onto it and then push the floor away, create an isometric there. Those both work, but if you have a bad shoulder, you might not want to be weight bearing on it. So I'm just going to show something a little different. When I was young, we used to play this game in the doorway. And we'd take our arm here and we'd push against it. Now this isn't complete adduction because that's all the way in. And when I rolled over, it does create that, a little more advanced. But a nice place to start is to create adduction against the doorway and then push in the other direction. So I'm just pulling the one arm away from the body. Obviously it's not going anywhere because I can't push through a wall. The wall is immovable. A few more seconds. And then I'm gonna just stay here and try to get the body to adjust, as opposed to when you were a kid, you came out of it and it like made the arm go up. I don't want that to happen. I want the body to adapt. One more time, push into the wall. And it's like I'm doing this, but I can't do it because I can't push the wall. And relax. Stay here. I can squeeze together a little bit. And then I could just do the other side. I come over here. Same thing. I maybe get tight for adduction, push against it. I'm not leaning either, right? While it might look like my body's against it, that's just to create the end range. I'm really creating this out or abducted position. And then I'm gonna relax, but I'm gonna stay here. And now I might give it a little more lean so I don't create the lift away from the wall. But then when I'm ready, again, balancing it, push. Pushing the arm against the wall, letting myself, create that nice isometric equal measurement, so equal against the tension. And then relax. And I could do a variation like that, I'm sure, but this requires a lot more stability. And at that point, you can go on the floor. The last part is the abduction away. And again, like I said, you could do this on the floor, but at first, to be safe in your shoulder, you might want to come into a position like this, so you're not weight bearing. And I'm just gonna turn, right? So this is basically almost normal, or let's say, in line, frontal, sagittal, whatever, and then turning out, then finding this abducted shoulder here. And instead of pushing my body, I'm gonna reduce it a tiny bit, make it safe where I still feel it, and then I'm gonna push into the wall. And I'm resisting it in the body, I'm creating tension, equal measurement, isometric. Try not to to bend your elbow. And then once I'm done, I can relax a little. And I might feel that I actually got a little more room. That's great. When I'm ready, push again. And I'm resisting it all. I'm working very hard doing this. On the floor, it'd be a little different, but you'd be weight bearing at the same time, like I said. Not as much on this one, but you get the picture and relax. And I already feel I can get a little more room. I'm gonna stay here at the end range for a moment. And my arm's a little tingly. I feel the blood, moving around. That's good. I'm probably accessing tissue that I haven't really gotten to in a little bit. And the same thing, my arm's on the wall. This is the abduction, right? So I just brace it, block it against the wall, turn until I feel the end range, and instead of really going for it, regress a little and then push, right? And then there's a little bit of a measurement or balance happening. Lock the elbow and keep it working at end range. You don't have to push hard. All right, you could adjust your body if needed, 5 to 15 seconds, and then you're just relaxing without moving. And then we'll just do it one more time. Once you feel you're at the right spot, push, create the tension, send a signal. That's what you're trying to do. Send a signal to the capsule. You should feel it in the shoulder. A few more moments. And then relax. And maybe just staying here. Again, I got the tingles a little bit. Hopefully you do too. You feel the tissue responding, because that's all you're looking for, a response. A good one, not a painful one. We're gonna end it off with the Cuban rotation. So this is a nice exercise that you can do for loading internal and external rotation. I have a bow staff, but you can easily use a broomstick. Anything that's kind of like this. I mean, you could use a bar, but you don't want to go heavy in the beginning. So I'm going to create the 90-degree angles in my elbows, and I'm just going to go slow, like maybe a 4 count. Internal rotation, and then bring it back up, maybe half speed, 2 count, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then 1, 2, and just kind of doing this a few times. And now the load's not a lot because it's just a wooden staff. So what I could do is I have a weight over here. Now this is a little heavy. I just didn't have a lighter one. So I would go lighter to start. This is 10 pounds, but you could easily do 5. All right, make sure it's on the side of your head. You could switch sides if you're really that concerned of the balance. It's an internal rotation, right? 4 seconds, and then back up for 2. And then back and forth, and maybe doing this for, 30 seconds. And keeping the count or controlling the weight. That's the main thing. You want to control it. So even if you're doing 4 and 4, 2 and 2. Well, 2 and 2 might be too quick. And I'm starting to fatigue. And I like to leave a little gas in the tank. Take it slow. Add weight when you're ready. Don't feel like you have to jump ahead. I'm Jeffrey. This is Yoga Framework. Thanks for joining me.